Dirty Birds, what's up? And welcome to another edition of Falcons Final Whistle, presented by Zaxby's. I'm your host, Will McFadden, joined by Tori McElhaney, and we are welcoming Kaden Ellis into the studio today. Kaden, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. How's camp been for you, man?
Thanks for having me, and it's been a blast so far.
Yeah. The storms last night, they didn't get you. We had the power outage, kind of threw a wrench in the schedule.
I liked it. I was happy for it. They let me stay at my house, and I slept way better than I would have slept here. So,
are you a big storm guy? Big sleep in the rain and the thunderstorms? Does that calm you?
No. Just you have to during camp. You got to stay with the team at the dorms or hotel, whatever your situation is with your particular team. Here we got to stay at dorms, but because the dorms were out of power, I got to sleep at my house, and I slept way better at my house with my family. So
yeah, we got that text at 6 o'clock in the morning, like, "Hey, practice is also being moved up, so get on the road and get here."
Get rolling.
Like, okay,
all right.
So before we start talking about camp and everything, want to kind of talk to you a little bit about your summer. You saw your family over the summer. Family, what is it? Family Olympics that
Family
you guys
Olympics.
do? Can you explain we know about this. Can you explain to the people Family Olympics and what that is?
I can. So we got 12 kids in our family. We've got a bunch of marriages now. Kids are coming out. Boyfriends, girlfriends, some really good family friends that come every year. And you've got about anywhere from 25 to 40 people. We draft teams. Whoever scored the most points last year gets to be captains that year. This year we did 3 teams. So it was me, my brother Christian. I scored the most points last year. So I was first captain.
Congrats.
Let's go. Come on.
Love it.
My brother Christian scored the second most. He plays for the Patriots. And my brother Jonah, who plays for the Broncos, scored the third most.
Go.
All of us are married or engaged to former D1 athletes. So we've got a little squad, and we drafted our teams and we went at it. It was a tough year. My beautiful wife tore her ACL.
Oh, no.
And is getting surgery right now. She was dominating the competition in dodgeball. But we were playing on very bad uneven grass. Won't do that again. So she's getting surgery right now, actually.
Is she going to make it back
right
for
now.
Camp next year?
she will be. She said she will never do athletic games at dodgeball again. It's going to be cornhole from her. So, but it ended in a 33-32 tie.
Oh.
And there was, a lot of deliberation about tiebreakers, but it got a little heated this year. And so, all things considered, we decided to call it a draw, and we'll run it back next year.
You couldn't even get your wife the edge?
I know.
She's giving body parts out here for this.
That was up to the other 2 captains, and they weren't giving me anything. So.
Wow.
All I got to say is my team won by 15 points all of the years, but this year one of my sisters brought a camera, and it was for family memories. But that quickly became used as footage
replay
for instant replay.
Right.
So I'm talking my team's walking off the court after winning dodgeball. After my wife got hurt, we won. We're walking to our escape room, and they're like, "No, look, he was out of bounds." So those things like that. So all things considered, my team took the high road. We won. Christian and Jonah hear that, but it ended in a draw technically.
So you're definitely just let's get technology out of the game. We need to rely on more referees.
The NFL with billions of dollars can't get instant replay correct. So we are not going to start doing that with our cheap $50 Walmart cameras.
With our little Kodiak disposable cameras. That's amazing.
It's trash. We're not doing that.
Oh my God.
So that rule has been set in stone. There will never be instant replay again. But,
okay.
So
what's your best family Olympic sport? What's your
I'm the best at?
Yeah.
All of them.
All of them. Do your favorite. Which one's your favorite?
I think we always do cornhole and bocce ball at the same time, and that one's a lot of fun because
at the same time.
Yeah, so it's kind of you got 2 cornholes and 2 bocce balls going at the same time, and that one's fun because it's relaxed. It's not very there's not a lot of fights in that.
Right.
But all the team games are fun too. One that we did was a lot of fun. We did ultimate football.
Yeah.
So you play ultimate frisbee with the football.
Okay.
And that one's a lot of fun. There's been some heavy arguments, some trucks, some things that the reason it is no longer allowed in Family Olympics. But that was a lot of fun.
Have you seen Top Gun Maverick? This is totally all right. So the football game that they play on the beach?
Yeah.
Where what is it, dogfight football or something?
Probably very similar.
Yeah,
you're doing that. It's ultimate frisbee with football, dogfight football.
There you go.
Call it. Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that this conversation was going to divulge into this bigger conversation of competition and injuries. Yeah. When we kind of talk about family time. We always think it's like very
Yeah.
chill and
No, there's every year there's at least one massive blow up,
this was it.
and there was instant replay on apple bobbing.
No way.
Yeah, not
Oh my
kidding.
gosh.
Guys, there was some tough stuff.
This is fun. Okay, we need to talk about like actual football. Also, shout out to your wife.
Yeah,
Who you
shout out
said-
to Brooke.
Yeah, she's
the
having
best.
surgery.
She's
Poor
dear Lord,
thing.
keep her safe, amen.
Amen. Oh man,
Yeah,
my heart goes out to her.
that's tough,
Really does.
but I guess indicative of like how hard you guys go. So
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
and I mean,
she gave it all. She put it on the line.
I'll bet that she was like going as hard as anybody.
Yeah, and
So,
she was dominating.
okay.
So
Well, we wish her a very speedy recovery.
Yes, of course.
Somebody who looks like he's doing really well in his recovery, Grady Jarrett. Kind of what's it meant to get him back out there and in kind of the middle of that defensive front?
just he wreaks havoc. You know what I mean? So to have him out there, it changes the front. It changes, and you win in the front. So once you change the front and you can dominate that, everything else gets easier as it goes back. So having him up there is awesome. That's just talking about football technique and strength. When I get into who he is as a person and what he means to the team and the defense when he's on the field, so having him back is a blessing.
Let's talk a little bit about your room.
Yeah.
Because we have spoken ad nauseum about you, Nate, and Troy, and JD now, of course, too. I'm really curious, when you break apart y'all's skill sets, how do you view each guy's role in having this kind of like role clarity and what y'all are being asked to do?
Yeah, so the role clarity, I think, will continue to get defined as plays are made and plays are not made by people all across the defense. Because I think the perk of having the linebacker room that we do right now, with the depth that we do right now, and the different skill sets that each guy has, it allows us to, really, we can fill voids anywhere on the defense, besides maybe true corner. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah.
Maybe Troy can get out there. I don't know. But
He has some straight line speed. He could hold his own.
he could hold his own.
Yeah.
You'll at least jam him at the line of scrimmage as long as possible.
They might not want to milk check Troy. You know what I mean? He'll be good. So I think that's just something that as camp continues to go and, different positions make different plays, different guys make different plays, I think what we'll be able to do in that linebacker room is allow the coaches to just put the best players and the playmakers on the field in whatever role that's going to be. And hopefully, we can get 3 linebackers out at the same time at all the time. And I'll play D-end, outside linebacker, Mike, Jack, dime. I'll play any of it. So I hope that we can just do that because there's a lot of talent in that room. But it's just going to come down to making plays this camp.
I'm curious, because we were talking to Nate about this kind of same thing, and you guys all have that versatility to your game. But when you and Troy and Nate look at each other, in your mind, do you have, hey, I know that Nate, of the 3 of us, this is his thing. And they know Kaden, this is his thing, and Troy, this is his thing. Do y'all each have that, we can do a little bit of everything, but, this is the go-to guy for pass rushing or for coverage or for diagnosing pre-snap reads? Do y'all have that view of each other?
Yeah, what's your shtick?
I wouldn't say I'd say you look at each guy and you can say, wow, you're really talented at this. But it's not to say necessarily that someone else in the room doesn't have that trait as well. You look at Troy and you see his burst, his straight line speed that can catch pretty much any route anybody can throw. Once he decides to go, he's running probably faster than most of the guys on offense. So obviously him in coverage in that aspect, you love that because he has, not only can he play great technique, can he go do everything else at the point with jamming someone or playing with good technique in his step and replace, whatever his drop may be. But when he decides to go, he's going.
Yeah.
It's fast. It's speed. So you love that trait. Nate, you look at him, and again, it's not to say that any of these players can't do any other things,
right.
but you see his just football instinct. And I think maybe my favorite, plays that he made last year that pointed to that wasn't diagnosing stuff, wasn't any of that. It was punching the ball out because he sees the opportunity to do that. And he's such a confident tackler that he when he gets to the point of a tackle, he's not thinking about, I got to get this guy down. He's thinking about, all right, do I have an opportunity here to get the ball out while I get him down?
How quick does that happen in your mind? Is it literally just you have maybe?
I think, I say the word think, but you don't really think. It's just a reaction.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you're thinking about it, you're not going to do it very well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, out of all his skill sets, probably my favorite about his. And then me, I pride myself on being able to do anything. But probably you'd say, get him up there and pass rush him. That's probably what you'd go to. So.
I mean,
I know Tori wants to talk with you about that.
That is something that, I mean, even going back when you first signed here, and I was watching film from when you were with the Saints, and kind of the way that they used you up on the line and in pass rushing, and it felt like there was kind of these different layers to what you were able to do with them. And then last year, kind of playing more of a full scope role to a certain extent. And I honestly think that because of the nature of what happened with Troy and Nate coming in, that things probably changed and evolved. Yep. So now with this new staff coming in and Troy's back 100%, Nate has a wealth of experience kind of on his shoulders now. How does that free you up to kind of do some different things, and how excited are you to be able to tap into that part of yourself as well?
Yeah, if I could pass rush every second along and third down, I'd love to. That's what I would do. I said, let me play the run first and second, make some good coverage adjustments, and then when it gets to a passing situation, let me rush. Yeah. But again, I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier, where hopefully we can just give the coaches the opportunity to say, all right, how do we get the best players on the field in this situation, whatever that may be. So I think that's all we can really think about. You can't really think about, Troy and Nate are good at this, so I should be able to do this now. It's just kind of, let's go out, let's make plays, let's have fun every single day. Let's love the opportunity to compete against our offense, compete against the other positions, and compete against each other. And I think if we go out and we make the plays that each of us are capable of making, that will, our coaches are pretty special, and I think they'll find ways to get us on the field.
Mm-hmm. You spent the entirety of your career in a Ryan Nielsen defense. This is the first time that you've kind of experienced something different. What has that been like for you? Have they adjusted to you and your skill set as much as coaches like to say that it's all about personnel, or have you found yourself kind of having to learn some new things and be put in some new situations? I
think it's a little bit of both, and there's a blend. There's some things that I do naturally and that I've just seen work in the NFL, and coaches have noticed a few things, and there's a lot of things that they've taught me where it's I've said this a few times, a couple different interviews, different ways to skin a cat. In the NFL, you see the same problems with multiple offenses all throughout the league. And how do we as a defense, how does this staff decide to tackle those issues? I've been tackling them one way for 5 years. Not to say we didn't make changes, you did, but at the end of the day, it was all within the same scope of a defense. And now I'm getting to see new ways to do some of the same things and tackle some of the same issues. And it's been an awesome opportunity for me to learn and grow as a player. And I'm really thankful for Jimmy and Ra and Rude and the other guys that are pouring into me so I can learn those things.
I know you don't know any different, but do you think this is kind of the right time in your career to maybe experience a change like this? Like you've gotten 4 or 5 years of now I know this defense backwards and forwards as well as I can, and now I'm hearing totally new voices and new opinions. Is 5 years in a good time, you think, for that transition?
I think it is. If Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid can stay together their whole career, I'm sure they will develop and grow things together in wonderful ways. But at the same time, it's nice again to see other ways that people do it, because it's just you're 5. I think there's always as a player you never want to plateau. And hopefully you can the good ones will find ways, whether in the same system or 10 different ones, to continue to grow. But I think it is a forced jump start to continue growing as a player.
I'm curious from a communication standpoint. We see you kind of calling the defense a little bit. We see Nate kind of calling the defense a little bit. How do you, to a certain extent, make sure that there aren't too many cooks in the kitchen? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think during camp and stuff, it's just we just got to go out there, get the play called, and let's go.
Yeah.
When the time comes, again, that'll be another decision the coaches make,
right?
And how they want to break up playing time and all those things. But I think right now it's probably, I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. Because that's always something that I'm curious about. If there's one person whose voice and cadence that you're kind of in the back of your head thinking about, does it matter? Does that stuff matter right now?
I say, maybe on offense, because again, that's a true cadence. But for
y'all,
for us, it's kind of like certain guys making checks. On defense, if you're playing correctly, everybody's talking. Everybody's saying things. Everybody's giving alerts. Everybody's, Jesse's in the back talking. AJ's giving an alert from an X split. The D-line shifting and motioning. Big O's keeping his head up and looking at all sorts of things, whether the tight end's going to swap. And
right.
I think if you're a good defense, you really truly have that 12th man, whereas on offense, you really like to hear that quarterback.
Just like one voice.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes
Right.
the center
like
makes
that.
a point, but even then, it's like, how often was Peyton Manning's center calling out the protection? I don't know that, but I'm sure Peyton had some pretty strong opinions on where he wanted protection going and things like that. So I'd say it's a little different in that sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that makes sense. And that's great to know, because sometimes I think we can get too caught up in certain things and how things look and sound and everything. And sometimes it's just nice to hear that kind of stuff. A little fun. So I've talked to Barrett like a number of times about y'all's room, and every time he says kind of the same thing about how it's basically like y'all talk about your families, you talk about football, and you talk about fishing. And that is essentially, if you ever want to know kind of what goes on in y'all's room, it's those three things, and kind of that's what it is. So what are some fishing stories that you've heard from the guys? Because I know Troy and Nate are like really big time fishers. I was out in Montana with Troy in the middle of winter, and he's in the middle of a rushing river fly fishing, and I'm like, not my thing.
Yeah, Nate especially loves fishing. It's like, it's a full addiction. It's like it is you'd always think like fishing, well, that's a very wholesome, very
Chill.
good,
Patience.
like very, very good thing to
One
want to do,
nature.
right? But you kind of never think that someone would take it to the extent Nate is taking it. It is the equivalent of how obsessed my brothers are with League of Legends.
Oh my God.
Video games. It is no different. The obsession is the same. I think he does it too much. Nate, you're fishing too much. Like he would if they would move back like our start time during OTAs.
Yeah.
He would come in after fishing. And as soon as we were done on days, he would leave for fishing. And he was fishing every off day. And I was like, Nate, like
Take a chill pill, man.
you can't fish all day.
Yeah.
And he's like, yes, I can. And I love it. And I'm, more power to you, I guess.
Right, yeah.
But
That makes me wonder if he has like 5 fishing poles like going at a time, right? Like he's like that
Just, like,
addicted
running.
to it, where it's just like you've got like I have 5 computer monitors in front of my eyes, but he's just got like, all right, I got this pole over here and I got this pole and this bait is on this thing and I got to check this one over here. Like
when he talks about fishing, my head spins. He knows that it's, again, about the equivalent when my brothers talk about League of Legends. I don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Those complex video games. I don't know. But it's about the same with Nate fishing.
Something that came up today, actually, when we were talking to Kirk Cousins, was he was talking to us about rookie presentations.
Yep.
And this is something that he said originated from the linebackers room. Did he mean your room specifically, about these like conspiracy theories and having all the guys? The premise of this, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm so excited about this. But the premise of this is that apparently there's this like power rankings of conspiracy theories amongst players on this team. And what y'all have done is y'all have basically given the rookies kind of these different conspiracy theories, and they do PowerPoint presentations on these conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Is this true?
Yes.
Okay.
So
And
it's a little blend. So
Okay.
we had JD do one for us.
Okay.
And he did fantastic. Notre Dame education is amazing.
what was the conspiracy theory?
I'm not getting into that.
Oh, okay.
At this
That's
point in
awesome.
time.
Kirk also was
That's
like, I'm not
trades.
going to say publicly.
In-
I'm not
Interesting.
going
Yeah.
to say what this one was.
We're going to formulate our own conspiracy theory about why you guys won't talk about your conspiracy theories.
It's
but
true.
Carry on.
But it's true conspiracy theory. JD convinced me. But we're not talking about that. And the quarterbacks, at the same time, we didn't know this, had their own little power ranking going in the offensive
Okay.
room of conspiracy theories. So now it's kind of all coming together and blending. And JD did so great that I told him, I don't need snacks. I don't need that stuff. I don't need you to buy me food. What I need from you is more PowerPoints.
I want knowledge.
So I told him he's got another one coming week 1. So he's got a
Okay.
little break after camp,
Mentally prepared.
put something together again. And I told him what it is. And I'm not telling you guys that one either.
Okay.
But
Love this.
it has something to do with Haiti. And we'll get there later. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I love this. Yeah. All right, conspiracy theories. Well, I'm formulating my own conspiracy theory as to what's going on behind the scenes. But you brought up Kirk. I think time for maybe 2 more, and then we really appreciate the time with us, Kaden, today. But Kirk Cousins, I'm curious from your perspective, like what have you felt from the quarterback position so far in camp? Because it seems like he just looks really, really sharp out there.
Yeah, difficulty. As a defense right now, it's difficult. He's stressing us. He's smart. He's he just knows where the ball needs to go and he puts it there on a dime. So, yeah, it's been difficult. That's what I'd say, which is what you like.
Yeah, for sure.
Love that. Honestly, I love that he has the GoPro that he wears on his little.
Yeah.
I've been telling Raw, I'm like, you need to give that to you guys, like the defense, because I mean, at the bare minimum, just being able to see where his eyes are going.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
even the cadence of like, all right, a quarterback, like when does he look off and when does he snap back?
True.
Right? It's like the timing of like, okay, 1, 2, 3, boom, or
Right.
like a different type. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are benefits to that. I'm probably not smart enough to list those out,
Nah.
but you let us know if you ever get to watch that film. The defense, last offseason, you guys coming in, David, you, Jesse, like a big transformation on that side of the ball. This year, not so much. Draft picks, rookies that you guys, hopefully will become part of the rotation and you can help develop. But there's a level of, I think, a vote of confidence, maybe I should say it that way, in your side of the ball. What does that mean to you? And then how do you guys as players repay that vote of confidence this season?
I think it means a lot. You still got to just kind of stay hungry. And whether or not they're the people around you are believing in you or not, whether there's confidence in you or not, I think it's just you just got to go make your plays and play ball. I mean, I say that at the same time there is something to having a confidence behind a position or a side of the ball on your team because you want to be a steady force for everybody else in the team. So I think living up to that, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, the best way to do that, to live up to that, and to exceed those expectations is almost to kind of forget about them and just stay hungry about it. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
That's an interesting point, too, because Kirk said today when we were talking about him, he was like, we almost in this building have a healthy state of rage that we're constantly tapping into, where it's like this idea of not being satisfied.
Yep.
Do you feel like that blends over into the defense as well in the same conversation that you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. In what ways? Where do you see that the most?
That's hard to point out, I think, because it's a very...
I mean, it's a
If
mentality.
if you were able to point it out in like, oh, it's here, here, and here, then you'd have to argue if that's really the case.
True.
'Cause I
It
think
might not be authentic then.
Yeah, it might not be
And
authentic.
it could be
'cause
taken away or it could,
Right.
Agreed.
like
Because
it's-
I think it's very much it's not as fun of an answer, but the mentality of it, it's the way you're going about the minute things. It's the small details, for lack of a horseshoe, for lack of a nail, that poem. It's kind of that situation where it's really the little things that'll get you there, and it's attacking those little things that'll get you there. And I mean, I hadn't used the word rage, but I think that's a good way Kirk said it.
Yeah.
It's keeping that fire going to attack those things.
An undercurrent of rage.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it's like
An
simmering
undercurrent.
underneath the surface.
Yeah,
and you
I
can
like
feel
it.
that because it's almost like the training camp this year has felt maybe less like, all right, we've got a 10-minute thing on the scoreboard. It's counting down. Now we got an air horn. Now everybody's running over to the next drill, and it's
Yeah.
very regimented. But it just feels like you guys are all on your P's and Q's collectively because maybe it points back to just that internal feeling as a group of
Yep.
like, yeah, we've got something to prove here. And in order to prove that, it starts right now. It starts with the next drill. It starts with the next rep. And you
Yep.
got to bring it each and every time. So
Love it.
awesome.
Before we go, we do have to ask you. We do a segment on the show called Camp Champ.
Okay.
And it is basically where we pick out one person from the day and we nominate them and we discuss who we believe is the day's camp champ. So for you, for today, what is today? Wednesday?
Today is Wednesday.
Today is Wednesday.
the 31st.
The 31st. Who was your camp champ for the day?
For the day.
Also, I will say, we had Jesse on last week. He picked Troy.
Oh, really?
He
Okay,
did.
Jesse.
Yeah.
I got to go Clark Phillips.
Clark Phillips.
Got
that
the
was
pick.
mine.
Got the interception.
Let's
Yeah, Clark
go.
Phillips, and you too. Yeah, no, he's a very, very tough player.
Yeah.
He's a good player in coverage. He's quick, fast, explosive, always in the right position, and now he's making plays on balls too. So, yeah, Clark.
Clark Phillips.
I love that, man. We got a
know.
little insight on the camp battle and the
know.
corner battle. I love.
Love
Yeah,
it.
Clark has looked really good out there so far. So
He
has
has.
Mike. I mean, it's been really fun to watch.
Yep.
Well, when y'all finally get the pads on, y'all can start doing what you're meant to be doing.
That's
you know?
true. That is very true.
So,
Awesome. Well, I think that will do it for this edition of Falcons Final Whistle, presented by Zaxby's. Kaden, thank you so much for taking the time to join us in studio. Much appreciated. But for Tori McElhaney, I'm Will McFadden. We will see you guys tomorrow.